Every night, my wife and son couldn't wait for me to fall asleep. I wanted to see why with my own eyes. One night, I pretended to take my sleeping pills, and what I saw next took my breath away. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It started 3 weeks before Christmas. I was standing in my kitchen, staring at the phone like it had just told me my dog died. Except, I don't have a dog. What I had was my son's voice on speakerphone, calm and practiced, delivering the news that I was officially uninvited from the holidays. "Dad, it's just, you're not really welcome this year." Laura sat across from me at the kitchen table, her hands frozen over a half-opened box of Christmas decorations. The angel we'd used for 30 years dangled from her fingers like a hanged man. She looked at me, then at the phone, then back at me. Her face did that thing where it tries to stay neutral, but the muscles around her jaw start twitching. I should have screamed, should have demanded an explanation, should have thrown the phone across the room and watched it shatter against the wall beside the fridge, right next to the magnet that said, "World's Best Dad," that Ethan gave me when he was 7. Instead, I said, "Sure, have a good one." And I hung up. Laura's mouth opened. Nothing came out. "Dan," she finally managed. "What the hell was that?" I sat down slowly, feeling my bad knee pop like bubble wrap. 58 years old and my body was a symphony of breaking parts. "That was me being fired from Christmas." "You can't be serious." "Oh, I'm serious. Ethan's been practicing that speech." You heard the pauses. He was reading off a script. In the background of the call, before I hung up, I'd heard Mia's voice, my daughter-in-law, the woman who smiled for Instagram and counted calories like an accountant counts money. She'd said something I couldn't quite make out, but the tone was clear. Dismissive, pleased. Laura stood up, the angel still in her hand. "I'm calling him back." "Don't! Dan, don't!" I held up my hand. My wedding ring caught the overhead light. 29 years on my finger. "It's just one Christmas." That was a lie. We both knew it. This wasn't about one Christmas. This was about something bigger, something that had been building for months, maybe years. I just hadn't wanted to see it. I'm a construction site safety inspector for the city. It's not glamorous. I know buildings. I know codes. I know when someone's trying to hide something. It's all about the details, the things people think no one will notice. Ethan knew that about me. He'd grown up watching me document every crack, every violation, every half-assed weld job. He knew I paid attention. So why did he think I wouldn't notice this? Laura packed away the decorations in silence. I watched her fold tissue paper around ornaments Ethan had made in elementary school, popsicle stick reindeer, construction paper angels, his name written in that chunky kid handwriting that doesn't know how to stay between the lines yet. "He called you unstable," I said quietly. Laura's hands stopped. "What?" "Mia." In the background, I heard her say I was unstable and embarrassing in front of clients. "You're not unstable." "No," I agreed. "But I am embarrassing. To them, anyway." I wore Carhartt jackets and Red Wing boots. I drove a 10-year-old Ford F-150 with a dent in the passenger door from when I backed into a post at the grocery store. My idea of a fancy dinner was the Olive Garden. Ethan and Mia lived in a house with heated bathroom floors and a wine fridge that cost more than my first car. We didn't fit in their world anymore. Maybe we never had. That night I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Laura was beside me, her breathing too quick to be sleep. My knee ached. It always did when a storm was coming. I could feel the pressure in the joint, like a barometer made of bone and cartilage. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I picked it up, squinting at the blue light. A text notification. But not from Ethan. From a group chat. The family group chat we'd started years ago, back when Ethan still called every Sunday, and Mia pretended to like my jokes. Except the message preview showed it was from Ethan to Mia, just the two of them. I sat up slowly, careful not to jostle the mattress. Laura stirred, but didn't wake. I opened the message thread. There were dozens of messages I hadn't seen, weeks of them. They'd created a separate conversation inside the family group, one I still had access to because Ethan had never bothered to remove me from the original chat. I scrolled up, my thumb moving faster as I read. Mia, did you talk to him about the evaluation? Ethan, not yet, waiting for the right time. Mia, we can't wait forever. Once he's evaluated, we can move forward. Ethan, I know, I'm working on it. Mia, your mom's the problem. She won't go along with it. Ethan, she will once the money looks good enough. I stopped breathing. Evaluation. Move forward. The money. I kept reading. The messages went back further. Voice notes from Mia, each one more damning than the last. Her voice bright and cheerful, like she was ordering coffee, talking about my episodes at family dinners. How I'd been acting strange. How I'd gotten aggressive with her at Thanksgiving when I'd asked her to pass the rolls. Ethan's responses were worse, clinical, detached. Once we get a doctor's letter, decision-making can be simplified. Decision-making. They were talking about me like I was a problem to be managed, a box to be checked, an obstacle between them and something they wanted. I looked at the date on the earliest message, 4 months ago. This had been going on for 4 months, and I'd had no idea. My hands shook. I set the phone down on my chest and closed my eyes, trying to organize my thoughts. This was like finding a structural crack in a building. You don't panic, you assess, you document, you figure out how bad it is before you decide what to do. But this wasn't a building. This was my son, planning something against me, with my house, my money, my life. Laura's hand touched my shoulder. Dan? I opened my eyes. She was looking at me in the dark, her face half in shadow. I need to show you something, I said. I spent the next day at work in a fog. My partner, a kid named Tyler who was half my age and twice as cocky, kept shooting me looks. You okay, old man? Fine. You missed the rebar issue on the 3rd floor. I had. I'd walked right past exposed rebar that should have been capped, the kind of thing that could punch through someone's skull if they fell wrong. Tyler had caught it. It should have been me. Thanks, I muttered. You sure you're okay? I said I'm fine. At lunch, I sat in my truck and read through the messages again. Laura had stayed up until 2 a.m. going through them with me, her face getting harder with each one. By the end, she wasn't crying. She wasn't even angry. She was something worse, calculating. They're planning to have you declared unfit, she'd said, her voice flat. Then they'll push for power of attorney. Once they have that, they can make decisions about your care, your property, your finances. Can they do that? With the right doctor and the right paperwork? Yes. Laura worked in HR at the regional hospital. She knew how these things worked. If they get a psychiatrist to say you're a danger to yourself or others, they can petition for guardianship, especially if you're living in the family home, and they can argue you're not maintaining it properly. The house is fine. I know that. But they'll find something, a leaky pipe, mold in the basement. It doesn't take much. I'd stared at her. You're talking like a lawyer. I'm talking like someone who's seen this before, at the hospital, adult children who want their parents' assets. It's more common than you think. She'd leaned forward, her eyes hard. We need to play along, pretend we don't know. Why? Because if we confront them now, they'll just get better at hiding it. We need to know everything they're planning. So here I sat in my truck, eating a soggy sandwich and feeling like I'd swallowed glass. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Heller? Yeah. This is Karen from St. Michael's Hospital calling to confirm your appointment. I sat up straighter. What appointment? Your mental health evaluation on December 20th. It says here it was arranged by your son as a family wellness check. Is that correct? I gripped the phone harder. Yeah, that's correct. Wonderful. Do you need directions to the clinic? No. I know where it is. I hung up and sat there, staring at the dashboard. December 20th. That was in 5 days. A routine mental health checkup, arranged by Ethan, as a favor. At the bottom of the confirmation email that appeared on my phone 30 seconds later, there was a line in small print. Family concerned about escalating confusion. Escalating confusion. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. It came out harsh and bitter, echoing in the cab of my truck. Tyler walked by outside carrying a clipboard and gave me a strange look. I waved him off and kept laughing until my throat hurt. That evening, Ethan and Mia showed up at the house unannounced. They brought expensive pastries from the bakery downtown, the kind with French names that cost $8 each. We wanted to stop by, Ethan said, smiling. He looked tired, shadows under his eyes. His suit was wrinkled. See how you're doing. Mia kissed Laura on the cheek, her perfume heavy and floral. You look great, Laura. Have you been doing something different with your hair? Laura smiled back. It didn't reach her eyes. Just the usual. We sat in the living room. I ate a pastry that tasted like cardboard and watched my son pretend to care about my day. He asked about work, about my knee, about whether I'd been sleeping okay. Actually, he said, reaching into his pocket, I picked something up for you. He set a prescription bottle on the coffee table. New sleeping pills. Dr. Rosen recommended them. Supposed to be really effective. I picked up the bottle, turned it over. The label had my name on it, but I'd never been to Dr. Rosen. When did I see Dr. Rosen? Oh, I called him on your behalf. Explained you were having trouble sleeping. He was happy to help. I looked at Laura. She was reading the label, her face neutral. The dosage seems high, she said carefully. Mia waved her hand. Doctors know what they're doing. After they left, Laura held up the bottle. This is 3 times the normal starting dose for someone your age and weight. They want me knocked out. They want you confused, groggy, easy to document as declining. She opened her laptop and started typing. I'm checking the side effects. I watched her work. This woman I'd been married to for 29 years. She was always the smart one. I was the one who knew how to read blueprints and spot code violations. She was the one who could navigate hospital politics and remember every clause of an employee handbook. If you take these, she said, they'll make you dizzy, disoriented, and irritable. Perfect symptoms for someone who's supposedly losing it. So I don't take them. You take them, she corrected, or you pretend to. I understood. 3 nights later, I pretended to take the pill. I made a show of it at dinner, swallowing with a big gulp of water, letting Mia see. She was over again, sitting at our kitchen table like she belonged there, talking about her latest Instagram post. It's doing really well, she said, showing Laura her phone. 15,000 likes already. I yawned dramatically. These pills really work. Ethan smiled. Told you. An hour later, I was in bed, eyes closed, breathing slow and deep. I could hear them downstairs. Mia's laugh, the clink of wine glasses. I waited. My knee ached, but I didn't move. I counted the cracks in the ceiling in my head, a habit from childhood. When I got to 300, I heard footsteps on the stairs. They passed my room. I heard the guest room door open. Close. I waited another 10 minutes, then slid out of bed. My knee popped loud enough that I froze, but no one came. I moved slowly, weight on my good leg, avoiding the squeaky boards I'd been meaning to fix for 6 months. The hallway was dark. A slice of light showed under the guest room door. I heard Laura's voice, low, tense. You're sure about this? That was Mia. I'm sure. Laura's voice. The paperwork's already in motion. Once the evaluation confirms it, we file for guardianship. Dan won't even understand what's happening until it's done. My stomach dropped. And Emily? Mia again. Emily won't be a problem. She's barely involved anymore. I stood there in the dark hallway of my own house, listening to my wife and daughter-in-law plan my life like I was already gone. Then I heard something else. A car door, outside. I moved to the window at the end of the hall. In the driveway, Mia's white Mercedes was parked at an angle. The interior light was on. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat. Mia. But Mia was in the guest room. I'd just heard her voice. I squinted. The person in the car lifted a phone, and I saw her face clearly in the screen's glow. It was Mia, which meant... The guest room door opened behind me. I spun around, my knee screaming, and nearly fell. Mia stepped out, phone in hand. She looked at me. I looked at her. Dan? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. What are you doing up? Behind her, I could see Laura sitting on the guest bed, laptop open. Not looking guilty, not looking surprised, looking annoyed that I'd interrupted. Bathroom, I said. My voice sounded far away. Just going to the bathroom. Oh. Mia's smile widened. Those pills make you groggy, huh? You look confused. I looked past her at Laura, at my wife of 29 years, the woman who'd promised to love me in sickness and in health. She looked back at me, and I saw something in her face I'd never seen before. Calculation. Go back to bed, Dan, Laura said softly. You're not yourself right now. I turned and walked back to the bedroom, my heart hammering so hard I thought it might break through my ribs. Behind me, I heard Mia laugh. Before we go any further, hit the hype button, take a second to subscribe and like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And tell us in the comments, what would you do in this situation? I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed and listened to Laura come back an hour later, sliding under the covers like nothing had happened. She fell asleep almost immediately, her breathing deep and even. I stared at the ceiling and tried to understand what I'd heard. By morning, I'd convinced myself I'd imagined it. The pills messing with my head, even though I hadn't actually taken them. The stress, the paranoia, because the alternative was impossible. Laura wouldn't do that to me. She made breakfast like always, scrambled eggs and toast, coffee strong enough to stand a spoon in. She asked about my knee, whether I'd slept okay, if I wanted her to pick up more of those pills since they were working so well. I said yes to everything and watched her face for cracks. I have a long shift today, she said, rinsing her plate. Might be home late. Okay. She kissed me on the forehead on her way out, like she had for 29 years. After her car pulled out of the driveway, I went to the guest room. The bed was made, the laptop was gone, everything was normal, except for a piece of paper on the desk. It was a real estate flyer. One of those glossy things that came in the mail every week, showing photos of houses that had just sold in the neighborhood. Someone had circled one in red pen. Our house. The estimated value was written in the margin, $680,000. Under it, in handwriting I didn't recognize. After repairs, $750K easy. I took a photo with my phone. At work, I couldn't focus. Tyler caught me staring at a wall stud like it contained the meaning of life. Seriously, man, what's going on with you? Family stuff. You want to talk about it? No. He shrugged and walked away. Good kid. Knew when to leave people alone. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Hey, Dad, just checking in. How are you feeling? I stared at it. 4 months of planning behind that simple question. 4 months of conversations I wasn't supposed to see. I typed back, fine. Thanks for the pills. No problem. Are they helping? Yeah. Sleeping great. Good. That's really good. You had us worried. Us. Him and Mia, talking about me like I was a bomb that might go off. I shoved the phone in my pocket and went back to work. We were inspecting a new residential building downtown. 7 stories, mixed use, The kind of place where the developer tries to cut every corner they can find and a few they invent. I caught 3 violations before lunch. Improper waterproofing. Electrical boxes too close to a water source. Fire-rated walls that weren't actually fire-rated. The site manager, a guy named Stevens who wore a suit to a construction site like an idiot, got in my face. "You're going to delay the whole project over this?" "I'm going to keep people from dying over this." "It's fine." The electrician said, "The electrician's wrong." Stevens's jaw clenched. "I want to talk to your supervisor. Be my guest." Tyler pulled me aside after Stevens stormed off. "You didn't have to be that harsh." "Yeah, I did. He was wrong." "I know, but—" Tyler hesitated. "You've been on edge all week. Is everything okay?" I looked at him. 26 years old. Clean record. Engaged to a nice girl who worked at the library. No idea how ugly family could get. "Everything's fine," I said. That night, I got home to find Laura in the kitchen with her laptop. She closed it quickly when I walked in. "How was work?" "Fine." "You look tired." "I am tired." She studied me. Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Are you taking your pills?" "Every night." "Good." She stood and kissed me again. That same forehead kiss. "I worry about you." After dinner, I excused myself and went to the garage. It was my space, full of tools and half-finished projects and the smell of sawdust and oil. I kept a small filing cabinet in the back corner, hidden behind a stack of lumber. Inside were copies of every report I'd ever written. Every inspection, every violation, every incident, including one from 6 years ago. I pulled out the file and flipped through pages until I found what I was looking for. The report from a construction accident at one of Ethan's early job sites. He'd been a junior project manager then, eager and sloppy. A worker had fallen through an unguarded floor opening, broken his back. Ethan had been responsible for that area. He should have been fired, maybe even faced charges. But I'd been the safety inspector on duty, and I'd made the report disappear. Not officially, I couldn't do that. But I'd written it vague enough that Ethan's name never came up directly. I'd buried his involvement in technical language and careful wording. I'd saved his career. He knew it. We'd never talked about it, but he knew. And now he was planning to have me declared incompetent. I took photos of every page. The next day, I started documenting everything. I'm good at that. It's what I do for a living. Pay attention, write it down, build a case. I kept a notebook in my truck. Every conversation with Ethan or Mia went in there. Every time Laura closed her laptop when I walked in. Every strange phone call, every odd question. I installed a voice recorder app on my phone and kept it running during family visits. I felt like a spy in my own life. On December 19th, Laura reminded me about my appointment the next day. "Your evaluation," she said. "Remember?" I remember. "Do you want me to come with you?" "No, I'll be fine." She looked relieved. That night, I lay in bed and pretended to take my pill again. Laura watched me swallow. After she fell asleep, I got up and went to the kitchen. I opened my laptop and searched for Dr. Rosen. He was real. Psychiatrist specializing in geriatric mental health. Reviews were mixed. Some people said he was thorough and caring. Others said he'd diagnosed their loved ones with dementia after a single 15-minute conversation. I kept digging. Found a medical board complaint from 3 years ago. A family member had accused him of being too quick to declare patients incompetent. The complaint was dismissed, but it was there. This was the doctor Ethan had chosen. I closed the laptop and sat in the dark kitchen. My knee ached, my head ached, everything ached. I could hear Mia's voice in my memory. "Once he's evaluated, we can move forward." They thought I'd walk into that office tomorrow like a sheep to slaughter. Confused, groggy from the pills, easy to label. I got up and went to the bathroom. The prescription bottle sat on the counter. I opened it and dumped all the pills into the toilet. Watched them swirl away. Then I refilled the bottle with Tylenol. If they checked, and I was betting they would, they'd see the bottle getting empty right on schedule. The evaluation was at 10 in the morning. The clinic was in a medical building near the hospital, all glass and uncomfortable chairs. I checked in at the front desk. The receptionist smiled at me like I was a lost child. "Mr. Heller? Dr. Rosen will see you shortly." I sat down and waited. My knee bounced. I made it stop. 30 minutes later, a woman in scrubs called my name. I followed her down a hallway to a small office. Dr. Rosen was younger than I expected. Maybe 45, wire-rimmed glasses, soft hands that had never held a hammer. "Mr. Heller, please sit." I sat. He looked at a file on his desk. "Your son is concerned about you." "Is he?" "He says you've been confused lately, forgetful, sometimes aggressive." "I haven't been aggressive." He mentioned an incident at Thanksgiving. I asked my daughter-in-law to pass the rolls. Dr. Rosen wrote something down. "How would you describe your current mental state?" "Fine." "Are you sleeping well?" "Yes." "Your son arranged for sleeping pills. Are those helping?" "Very much." He nodded, still writing. "Have you experienced any memory problems? Forgetting appointments, losing things, confusion about dates or times?" "No." "Your son seems to think my son is wrong." Dr. Rosen looked up at me, really looked at me for the first time. "Mr. Heller, I'm here to help, but I need you to be honest with me." "I am being honest. I'm fine. My son wants me declared incompetent so he can take control of my house and my money. That's what this is really about." His expression didn't change. "That's a very serious accusation. It's a very serious plan. Do you have any evidence of this?" I thought about the text messages, the voice notes, the real estate flyer. "Yes," I said. "May I see it?" And that's when I realized the trap. If I showed him, he'd either dismiss it as paranoia or worse, he'd tell Ethan I knew. "No," I said. Dr. Rosen sighed. "Mr. Heller, paranoia is often an early symptom of cognitive decline." "I'm not paranoid. Your son is trying to help you. My son is trying to rob me." More writing. I could imagine what he was putting in his notes. Hostile, defensive, delusional. We went through more questions. He asked me to remember 3 words and repeat them back in 5 minutes. Asked me to draw a clock showing 10 past 11. Asked me to count backward from 100 by sevens. I aced every test. But it didn't matter. I could see it in his face. He'd already made up his mind before I walked in the door. At the end, he said, "I'd like to schedule a follow-up appointment, and I'm going to recommend some additional testing." "What kind of testing?" "Cognitive assessments, brain scans, just to be thorough. And if I refuse, that's your right, but it might be seen as concerning by your family, by the courts, if it comes to that." There it was, the threat, polite and professional. I stood up. "Thank you for your time, Dr. Rosen." "Mr. Heller," I walked out. In the parking lot, I sat in my truck and gripped the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. I'd just failed a test I couldn't actually fail. No matter how well I answered, no matter how sharp I was, the outcome was already decided. Ethan had set it up perfectly. My phone rang. Laura. "How did it go?" "Fine." "What did he say?" "He wants more testing." A pause. "That's probably good. Just to be safe." Just to be safe. She was in on it. Had been from the start. I'd heard her in the guest room, planning with Mia, but some part of me had still hoped I was wrong. "I'll be home soon," I said, and hung up before she could answer. That night, I pretended to take my pill and waited for everyone to fall asleep. Laura was out cold by 10:30. I gave it another hour, then crept downstairs. The house was dark and quiet. I moved through it like a ghost, avoiding every creak and groan I'd memorized over the years. The third step on the stairs, the floorboard by the bathroom, the spot near the kitchen door where the wood had warped from a water leak we'd never quite fixed right. In the living room, Laura's laptop sat closed on the coffee table. She'd been using it before bed, typing something while I pretended to watch television. I opened it. No password. She'd never needed one before. The screen lit up, and I saw her email inbox. Dozens of messages from Ethan, from Mia, from someone named Patricia Summers, who turned out to be a real estate agent. I clicked on the most recent email from Patricia. Laura, I've run the comps for your property. Based on current market conditions, you're looking at $680K as is, potentially $750K with minor cosmetic updates. I can have buyers lined up within a week of listing. Let me know when you're ready to move forward. Laura had responded, soon, just need to finalize some family matters first. Family matters. That's what I was, a matter to be finalized. I kept reading. An email from Ethan, dated 3 months ago. Mom, are you sure about this? Dad's going to fight. Laura's response. He won't understand what's happening until it's too late. Trust me. Another email, this one from Mia. I found a care facility in Westview. It's cheap but clean. We can move him there once the paperwork goes through. Laura. Perfect. Let's plan for early spring. Early spring. 4 months away. They'd been planning this for 4 months, and they'd already picked out where to dump me. Then I saw an email from Emily. My daughter. The one I'd barely talked to in 2 years after she moved 3 hours away and stopped coming to family dinners. The subject line, what you're doing is wrong. I opened it. Mom, I know what you and Ethan are planning. I know about the evaluation, the guardianship, all of it. I won't help you. And if you go through with this, I'll fight you. Dad doesn't deserve this. Laura's response, just one line. Then stay out of it. I sat back, my hands shaking. Emily knew. Emily had refused to help them. That's why they'd stopped talking to her. Not because she was busy or distant, but because she'd said no. My phone buzzed in my hand, a text from an unknown number. Dad, it's Emily. We need to talk. I stared at the message, then at the laptop screen, then back at the message. Before I could respond, I heard a sound upstairs. Footsteps, the bathroom door closing. I shut the laptop and moved quickly back to the bedroom, my knee screaming with every step. I was under the covers, eyes closed, breathing deep by the time Laura came back. She stood in the doorway for a long moment. I could feel her watching me. Then she walked to the bed and sat down on her side. The mattress dipped. She stayed there, not moving, not lying down. I know you're awake, Dan. I kept my breathing steady. I saw the laptop screen was warm. You've been snooping. My heart hammered, but I didn't move. It's okay, she said softly. I understand. You're confused. The pills are making you paranoid. That's why we're doing this. To help you. She lay down beside me, her back to mine. Good night, Dan. I waited until her breathing changed, until I was sure she was asleep. Then I pulled out my phone under the covers and typed a response to Emily. Where can we meet? The next morning, Laura was gone before I woke up. A note on the kitchen counter. Early shift. See you tonight. Love you. Love you. I crumpled the note and threw it in the trash. Emily had texted back an address, a diner on Route 9, halfway between her place and mine. I called in sick to work. Tyler sounded worried, but I hung up before he could ask questions. The drive took an hour and a half. My knee ached from holding the gas pedal. I hadn't seen Emily in person in almost a year. We'd talked on the phone a few times. Short, awkward conversations where neither of us knew what to say. She was already at a booth when I arrived. 28 years old now. Still had her mother's dark hair and sharp eyes. She looked tired. She was a nurse in the ICU at a hospital near where she lived. She stood up when she saw me. We hugged. It felt strange. Thanks for meeting me, I said. I should have called sooner. She sat back down, hands wrapped around a coffee mug. I should have warned you. When did you find out? 4 months ago. Ethan called me, asked if I'd noticed you declining, asked if I'd be willing to sign a statement saying you were having memory problems. I told him to go to hell. They stopped talking to you after that. Yeah. She looked down at her coffee. Mom called me once, tried to explain it was for your own good. I asked her how selling your house was for your own good. She hung up on me. A waitress came by. I ordered coffee I wouldn't drink. I have something for you, Emily said. She pulled a small flash drive from her purse and slid it across the table. That meeting I just told you about, the one where Ethan called me, I recorded it. You recorded your own brother? I recorded someone trying to manipulate me into betraying my father. Her jaw was tight. I kept it for protection, in case they tried to say I was part of it. But you should have it. I picked up the flash drive. It was warm from her pocket. There's more on there too, she said. A couple other calls, one from Mom, one from Mia. Mia's the worst. She coaches Ethan on what to say to the doctors. Tells him to use words like aggressive and paranoid. It's all calculated. I slipped the drive into my pocket. Thank you. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. You can't just let them do this. I know. She reached across the table and grabbed my hand. Her grip was strong, nurse hands. Dad, I know we're not close. I know I haven't been around. But I need you to know I'm on your side. Whatever you need. I squeezed her hand back. Why did you move away? She pulled back slightly. You really want to do this now? Yeah, Emily sighed. Because Ethan was always the favorite. Even when we were kids, he was the golden child. I was just there. And Mom always backed him up, no matter what. After a while, it felt easier to just leave. I'm sorry. It's not your fault. You worked all the time. You didn't see it. But I should have. That's what she wasn't saying. I should have paid attention. I should have noticed my daughter being slowly pushed out of her own family. I see it now, I said. Good. Because they're not going to stop. They've already invested too much. Emotionally, financially. They've told people you're losing it. They've laid groundwork with doctors, with lawyers probably. This isn't just a plan. It's a campaign. Then I need to campaign back. Emily's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? It means I'm not going to be the nice guy anymore. Dad, they want to destroy my life? Fine. I'll destroy theirs first. Emily stared at me. That doesn't sound like you. Maybe it should have. We talked for another hour. She told me things I hadn't known. How Ethan had gambling debts. How Mia's real estate business was mostly fake, propped up by Instagram and borrowed money. How their perfect life was a house of cards. And how Laura had been the one pushing it all forward. Not Ethan. Not Mia. Laura. Mom's the brains, Emily said. Ethan's too emotional. Mia's too greedy. But Mom knows how to work systems. She's done it her whole career. Navigate hospital politics, play people against each other, stay clean while everyone else gets dirty. She told me she loved me this morning. She probably believes she does. She's convinced herself this is for your own good, that you'll thank her later. Emily's face hardened. She's wrong. When I got to my truck, I sat in the parking lot and plugged the flash drive into my phone using an adapter. The files loaded. Audio recordings. 5 of them. I pressed play on the first one. Ethan's voice. So you definitely won't help us? Emily's voice. I'm not going to lie about Dad. Ethan. No one's asking you to lie, just to share concerns. Emily. He's fine. You know he's fine. A new voice. Mia's. Emily, honey, we're worried about him. He's been acting strange, forgetting things, getting aggressive. Emily. He asked you to pass the rolls. That's not aggressive. Mia, laughing. It's the way he asked. It was hostile. Emily. You're making this up. A long pause. Then Ethan. Look, the bottom line is, we need to move forward. With or without you. The house is worth a lot of money. Once we get him evaluated and declared unfit, we can... Emily. Declared unfit? Jesus Christ, Ethan, listen to yourself. Ethan. He's old, Em. He's not going to get better. This is about protecting him before something happens. Emily. This is about stealing his house. Mia, voice sharp. That house should have been ours years ago. Your mother's been working her whole life. She deserves to retire somewhere nice, not waste her golden years taking care of someone who doesn't even appreciate it. Emily. Get out. Ethan. The recording ended. I sat there, my hands gripping the steering wheel. Mia's voice echoed in my head. That house should have been ours years ago. They'd been planning this even longer than I'd thought, years, waiting for the right moment to take what they wanted. I started the truck and drove home. My knee was on fire. My head felt like it was splitting open. But for the first time in weeks, I knew exactly what I had to do. And that night, Laura asked how I was feeling. Good, I said. Really good, she smiled. I'm glad. You seem better. The pills are helping. I knew they would. After she went to bed, I went to the garage, opened the filing cabinet, pulled out every report I'd saved from Ethan's job sites over the years. There were 7 of them. 7 times he'd cut corners or missed safety violations, or let things slide because he was behind schedule or over budget. 7 times I'd softened the language or buried the details or just plain looked the other way, because he was my son. I photographed every page, organized them into a folder on my phone, created a backup on a cloud drive only I could access. Then I pulled out the report from 6 years ago. The accident, the worker with the broken back. I read through it again, noting every place where I'd protected Ethan, every carefully vague sentence, every missing detail. Then I rewrote it. This version didn't protect anyone. It named names, listed specific failures, assigned direct responsibility. I saved both versions, the original and the new one. When Laura asked me to come to bed, I said I'd be up in a minute. But I stayed in the garage, surrounded by tools and dust and the smell of old wood, and I smiled. The sleeping pill bottle on my bathroom counter was almost empty. I'd been dumping Tylenol down the toilet for a week, right on schedule. Anyone checking would think I was taking them like a good patient, but I'd never felt more awake. Laura noticed. Over breakfast, she said, "You seem different." Different how? I don't know, sharper, more present. Maybe I'm finally getting enough sleep. She studied me over her coffee. I knew that look, the HR manager look, trying to figure out if I was a problem or an opportunity. I talked to Dr. Rosen, she said. Did you? He said you did well on the tests, but he's concerned about your attitude. He thinks you might be in denial about your condition. My condition? Your cognitive decline. I ate my eggs, didn't look up. I aced every test he gave me. The tests aren't the whole picture. There are behavioral components too, personality changes, paranoia, hostility. I'm not hostile. You accused Dr. Rosen of being part of a conspiracy. Did I? He says you claimed Ethan was trying to steal your house. I set down my fork and looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I'd married 29 years ago. The woman who'd promised to stand by me, who'd raised our kids with me, who'd made love to me in this house, in our bed upstairs, thousands of times. Is Ethan trying to steal my house? I asked. Laura's face didn't change. Of course not. Then why is there an email from a real estate agent on your laptop with comps for this property? She went very still. Why are there messages planning to move me to a care facility in Westview? Dan, why did Emily refuse to help you and end up cut out of the family? Laura stood up. Her chair scraped against the floor. You went through my laptop. Yes. That's a violation of privacy. So is planning to steal someone's house. We stared at each other across the kitchen table. The coffee maker beeped. The refrigerator hummed. Everything normal except nothing was normal. You're paranoid, she said finally. The pills are making you paranoid. I'm not taking the pills. Her eyes widened slightly, just for a second. Then the mask came back. What? I've been flushing them. Every night. I'm completely clear-headed. Which means everything I've seen, everything I've heard, it's all real. Laura sat back down slowly. She folded her hands on the table. When she spoke again, her voice was different. Colder. What do you want, Dan? I want the truth. The truth is you're getting old. You're sick. You can't take care of yourself anymore. We're trying to help you before something bad happens. I'm 58. I'm not sick. And the only bad thing happening is you trying to rob me. Rob you? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. This is our house, Dan. We bought it together. We've maintained it together. The equity is just as much mine as yours. Then divorce me. What? If you want the money, divorce me. Split everything 50-50, walk away clean. She shook her head. That's not what this is about. Then what is it about? Laura stood up again, walked to the window, looked out at the backyard where we'd raised our kids. The swing set was still there, rusted and tilted. Nobody had used it in 20 years. Ethan is drowning, she said quietly. Gambling debts, a mortgage he can't afford. Mia's business is failing. They're about to lose everything. That's not my problem. She turned to face me. He's our son. He's trying to destroy me. He's trying to survive. By taking my house, my savings, my freedom. By securing his future, and Mia's, and their children's, when they have them. They don't have children. Not yet. But they will. And what kind of grandparents would we be if we didn't help? I stood up. My knee protested, but I ignored it. The kind who don't lie and scheme and drug their father so they can steal his house. Nobody's drugging you. Those pills were 3 times the normal dose. They were meant to make me confused, groggy, easy to label as incompetent. Laura's jaw tightened. Dr. Rosen prescribed those. Dr. Rosen prescribed what Ethan told him to prescribe. You're paranoid. I'm awake. We stood there, facing each other. All the years between us suddenly feeling like a chasm. What are you going to do? She asked. I don't know yet. If you fight us, you'll lose. We have documentation, medical opinions, witnesses who will testify you've been declining. What witnesses? Neighbors, co-workers, friends. I haven't declined. People will say you have, because we'll ask them to. And there it was, the threat, out in the open. You'd destroy my reputation? I asked. I'd do what's necessary to protect our family. I'm your family. You're a liability. The words hung in the air between us. I picked up my plate, rinsed it in the sink, dried it with a dish towel, put it away in the cabinet. Normal morning routine, except everything had just burned down. I'm going to work, I said. Laura didn't respond. The next week was strange. I went to work, came home, ate dinner alone. The house felt bigger without Laura, quieter. Emily called every day. You doing okay? Fine. You don't sound fine. I'm fine. Ethan and Mia didn't contact me. Laura sent one text. We need to talk about the house. I didn't respond. My supervisor called me in for a meeting. His name was Morris, 15 years younger than me. Ambitious. The kind of guy who wore a tie to construction sites. We received some complaints, he said. About what? Your recent reports, specifically the Riverside site. What about them? The developer says you're being overly harsh, that the violations you cited are minor, and you're using your position to target them personally. The violations are real. I reviewed your report. It's very detailed, very thorough. Some might say, unusually thorough. I'm unusually good at my job. Morris leaned back in his chair. Your son works for that developer. He does. Is there a conflict of interest here? The opposite. I've been going easier on their sites because of my son. This time I didn't. Why not? Because people could get hurt. Isn't that the whole point of my job? Morris studied me. There are also concerns about your behavior. I've had reports that you've been distracted, irritable, not yourself. Who reported that? I can't say. But I knew. Laura. Using her connections, building her case. I'm fine, I said. Are you? Because if you're experiencing any health issues, we have resources. Counseling, medical leave. I don't need medical leave. The company wants to make sure you're getting the support you need. The company wants to make sure I don't sue them when my family tries to destroy me. Morris blinked. Excuse me? Nothing. I'm fine. Can I go? He hesitated, then nodded. Take care of yourself, Dan. I left before he could say anything else. That night, I got an email from Emily. Someone leaked the recordings to a local news site. They're running a story about elder abuse and family schemes. It's going viral. I opened the link. There it was. My family's betrayal, laid out for everyone to see. Ethan's voice, Mia's voice, plans to take my house, quotes from experts about how common elder financial abuse was becoming. The article didn't name names, but anyone who knew us would recognize the story. My phone started ringing. Neighbors, old friends, people I hadn't talked to in years. I didn't answer. Instead, I called Hal. You see the news? I asked. Saw it. Didn't know it was you. It's me. Who leaked it? I don't know. But I had a guess. Emily. Doing what I couldn't bring myself to do. What now? Hal asked. Now, I said. I finish it. The story spread faster than I expected. By the next morning, it was on 3 local news sites and a dozen social media pages. Local family accused of elder abuse scheme. No names, but enough details that people who knew us would figure it out. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. I turned it off. At work, Tyler pulled me aside. Is that story about you? Maybe. Holy shit. He looked at me differently, part sympathy, part fascination. Your own family? Yeah. What are you gonna do? I'm working on it. I wasn't really. I was just letting the fire burn, watching everything they'd built come apart. Ethan's reputation, Mia's Instagram brand, Laura's carefully maintained image at the hospital. It felt good. It felt terrible. It felt necessary. That afternoon, I got a call from a lawyer, a woman named Janet Reeves. She'd seen the story and wanted to help. Pro bono, she said. Cases like this make me sick. If even half of what's in that article is true, your family committed fraud, possibly elder abuse. I'm 58, I'm not elderly. You're vulnerable. That's what matters. We met at her office. She was younger than me, sharp-eyed, with a handshake that could crack walnuts. Tell me everything, she said. So I did. Showed her the emails, the texts, the recordings, the prescription for pills I never needed, the appointment with Dr. Rosen, all of it. She took notes. Lots of notes. This is solid, she said when I finished. Really solid. We can file for protective orders, restraining orders if needed, sue for attempted fraud. I don't want to sue. She looked up. Why not? Because that'll take years and cost money, and at the end of it, I'll have a legal victory and a destroyed family. Your family's already destroyed. I want them to feel what they tried to do to me. I want them to lose everything the way they tried to make me lose everything. But I want it to be their own fault, not because I sued them. Janet leaned back. That's a very Old Testament approach. I'm an Old Testament kind of guy. What do you need from me? Protection. If they try to petition for guardianship or power of attorney, I need you to block it. Done. What else? Documentation. I want everything we've talked about formalized, notarized, filed somewhere official. So if anything happens to me, the truth is on record. Also done. We spent 2 hours going over details. By the end, I had a thick folder of legal documents that basically said, I, Daniel Heller, am of sound mind and anyone who says otherwise is lying. It felt like armor. And that night, Mia called me. I almost didn't answer. What? Dan. Her voice was different, smaller. We need to talk. No, we don't. Please, just 5 minutes. I hung up. She called back immediately. I let it ring, then a text. I'm outside your house. I looked out the window. Her Mercedes was in the driveway. She was sitting in the driver's seat, phone to her ear. Against my better judgment, I went outside. She got out of the car. She looked awful. No makeup, sweatpants, hair in a messy bun. This wasn't the Instagram Mia. This was something else. What do you want? I asked. To apologize. Too late. I know, but I need to say it anyway. She wrapped her arms around herself. I'm sorry. For all of it. The lies, the planning, everything. I was wrong. You tried to steal my house. I know. You tried to have me locked up. I know. You coached my son on how to lie about me to doctors. She nodded, tears running down her face. I was desperate. We owe so much money. The house, the cars, Ethan's gambling debts. I thought if we could just get access to your equity, we could fix everything. So you decided to destroy me. I didn't think of it like that. I just thought, you're older. You'll need care eventually anyway. Why not now, when it could help us? Because I'm not sick. Because it's my life. I know. You're right. I'm a terrible person. Yeah, you are. She wiped her eyes. Ethan got fired today, officially. They said the code violations were bad enough, but the recordings made it impossible to keep him. He's blacklisted in the industry. Good. My brand deals fell through. All of them. Sponsors saw the story and pulled out. My followers are turning on me. People are calling me a vulture, a thief, Her voice broke. I've lost everything. You tried to take everything from me first. I know. We stood there in the driveway. The street was quiet, lights on in neighbors' houses, normal people living normal lives. Why are you really here? I asked. Mia looked at me. To ask you to stop. Stop what? Whatever you're planning next. I know you. I know you're not done. Please, we've lost enough. Not yet, you haven't. Dan, go home, Mia. We don't have a home. The bank foreclosed. We're staying with Ethan's friend. Part of me felt satisfaction. Part of me felt sick. That's not my problem, I said. She nodded slowly, got back in her car. Before she drove away, she rolled down the window. Laura said you'd do this. She said you were weaker than you looked, easier to break. She was wrong. Tell her I said thanks. Mia drove away. 2 days later, Laura showed up. Not at the house, at my work site. I was inspecting a framing job when I saw her standing by my truck. She was in her hospital scrubs. Must have come straight from a shift. We need to talk, she said. No, we don't. Dan, please. I kept walking. She followed. You've made your point, she said. You've destroyed Ethan's career, ruined Mia's business, humiliated all of us publicly. You've won. Can we please stop this? I haven't won anything. Then what do you want? I stopped, turned to face her. I want you to admit it. Admit what? That you were never trying to help me, that this was always about the money, about your retirement, about getting what you thought you deserved. Laura's face hardened. Fine. Yes, I wanted the money. I wanted to retire somewhere nice. I wanted to not worry about bills for the rest of my life. Is that so terrible? It is when you have to destroy me to get it. You were never going to give it willingly. You never asked. Because you would have said no. You'd have said we don't need it, that we can live on our pensions and Social Security, that we should be grateful for what we have. And that's wrong? It's small. It's settling. I'm tired of settling. So you decided to have me declared incompetent. I decided to take control of my own future by taking mine. We stared at each other, 29 years of marriage hanging between us. I filed for divorce, she said. Good. I want half the house. Talk to my lawyer. I'll fight you for it. Go ahead. You'll lose. I have documentation of your fraud, your conspiracy, your lies. No judge will give you anything. Her composure cracked. Just for a second. You're doing this to punish me. I'm doing this to protect myself. From what? I'm your wife. You were my wife. Now you're just someone who tried to rob me. She slapped me, hard. My cheek stung. Tyler appeared from behind a stack of lumber. Hey, you okay, Dan? Laura looked at him, then at me. Then she walked away. Tyler watched her go. Was that your wife? Ex-wife. Damn. The divorce paperwork came a week later. Laura wanted the house, half my pension, half my savings. She claimed I'd been abusive, controlling, that she'd lived in fear for years. Janet laughed when she read it. This is nonsense, she said. We have recordings proving she plotted against you. No judge will believe this. She's smart. She knows how to work systems. So are we. The legal battle took 3 months. Laura brought witnesses, neighbors who said I'd been acting strange, co-workers from the hospital who testified I'd seemed off when I'd visited Laura at work. Even Dr. Rosen submitted a statement saying I'd shown signs of cognitive decline and paranoia. But we had the recordings, the emails, the texts, the prescription for pills I didn't need at doses that were dangerous. The judge was a woman in her 60s. She listened to everything, read every document, then she made her ruling. Mrs. Heller, she said, based on the evidence presented, it appears you conspired with your son and daughter-in-law to defraud your husband of his property and assets. You attempted to have him falsely declared incompetent for financial gain. This is elder abuse, and I will not reward it. She gave me the house, all of it. My pension remained mine. My savings remained mine. Laura got nothing. I watched her face in the courtroom, watched it go from confident to shocked, to something harder, angrier. This isn't over, she said as we left. Yes, it is. But it wasn't. 2 weeks later, I came home to find my house broken into. Nothing stolen, nothing damaged. But someone had been there. I knew it was Ethan, called the police. They took a report but couldn't prove anything. No evidence, no witnesses. Change your locks, the officer said. Install cameras. I did both. The next break-in happened 3 days later. This time they knew about the cameras, wore masks, broke them. Still nothing stolen. Just a message. They could get to me. Anytime they wanted. I called Hal. I'm coming over, he said, and I'm bringing friends. He showed up with 3 other guys from his union, big men with hard hands and harder attitudes. They set up watches, rotating shifts, made sure I was never alone. You're not going to scare me out of my own house, I told them. We know, Hal said. That's why we're here. The break-ins stopped. Emily came to visit. First time in the house since everything happened. How are you holding up? She asked. I'm fine. You look tired. I am tired. We sat in the kitchen. The same kitchen where Ethan had tried to strangle me, where Laura had admitted she'd only wanted my money, where my family had fallen apart. Mom's not doing well, Emily said. I don't care. I know. But I'm telling you anyway. She's staying with a friend. Can't afford her own place. The hospital put her on leave after everything came out. That's not my problem. Ethan and Mia are worse. They're living in a motel. He can't find work. She's trying to rebuild her brand, but nobody trusts her. Good. Emily looked at me. You really hate them. Wouldn't you? I don't know. Maybe. She paused. They asked me to talk to you. To ask you to back off. What did you say? I said no. What they did was unforgivable. She hesitated. But Dad, when does it end? When do you stop punishing them? When they've felt everything they tried to make me feel. They're broken. All of them. So was I. For months, while they planned and schemed and lied. You're better than this. No, I'm not. I'm exactly this. I'm what they made me. Emily stood up. I can't be part of this anymore. Then don't. She left. Didn't look back. That night, alone in my house, I sat in the dark and thought about what she'd said. When does it end? I didn't know. All I knew was that I wasn't done yet. The invitation came on a Thursday. Mia's friend, a woman named Chelsea who did real estate staging and probably didn't know the full story, was throwing a housewarming party. Big event, catered, open bar. The kind of thing Mia used to live for. The invitation was digital, one of those fancy evites with animated text. It had been sent to a neighborhood email list I was somehow still on. I wasn't invited, obviously, but I was going anyway. Laura had texted me that morning, first contact in weeks. Drop off the Christmas ornaments, they're Emily's, she wants them. I didn't respond, but I packed the box, the one with Ethan's popsicle stick reindeer, the one Laura had folded away the night he uninvited me from Christmas. That felt like years ago now, but it had only been 3 months. Hal drove me to the party. You sure about this? No. Good. Means you're thinking straight. The house was one of those new builds in a subdivision that looked like every other subdivision. Big houses, small yards, names like Autumn Ridge and Willow Creek that meant nothing. Cars lined the street, music and laughter spilled from the open doors, people in expensive casual clothes, wine glasses, fake smiles. I'll wait in the car, Hal said. You need me, you yell. I got out, carried the box up the driveway. A woman I didn't know answered the door. Hi, welcome, come on in. I'm just dropping something off. Oh. She looked at the box. Sure, yeah, kitchen's through there. I walked through the party. People glanced at me. I didn't fit. My work boots and Carhartt jacket stood out among the designer jeans and craft beer crowd. In the backyard, I saw them. Ethan and Mia, standing by a fire pit, drinks in hand. They looked smaller than I remembered. Thinner. Ethan's suit didn't fit right anymore. Mia's smile was forced. I set the box down on a table near the door, turned to leave. Dan? Laura. She'd come out of nowhere. What are you doing here? She asked. Dropping off ornaments. Emily wanted them. She's not here. Then I'll leave them anyway. Laura looked at the box, then at me. You didn't have to come all this way. I wanted to see it. See what? This. You people, pretending everything's fine. Her jaw tightened. We're trying to move on. By coming to parties and drinking wine? By acting like nothing happened? What else are we supposed to do? Crawl in a hole and die? That would be a start. Someone nearby turned to look. A man in a polo shirt and expensive sunglasses on his head, even though it was night. Is there a problem? He asked. No, Laura said quickly. Just an old friend leaving. I'm not your friend. Mia appeared. She saw me. Her face went pale. Dan, I didn't think you'd see me? Yeah, I know. Neither did I. Ethan walked over. His drink sloshed. Maybe his third, maybe his fifth. Dad, what are you doing here? Bringing ornaments. Bullshit. You came here to humiliate us. I came here because Emily asked, but yeah, this is a nice bonus. People were watching now. The backyard had gone quieter. Someone turned down the music. Ethan stepped closer. You've taken everything from me. My job, my house, my reputation. What else do you want? For you to feel what you tried to make me feel. I lost everything. You tried to take everything from me first. You're my father, and you're my son. That didn't stop you. Mia touched Ethan's arm. Let's just go inside. No. He pulled away from her. I'm done running from him. Ethan, he ruined our lives, and he's standing here acting like he's the victim. I am the victim, I said. You tried to steal my house. You tried to have me declared incompetent. You drugged me. You lied to doctors about me. We were trying to help you. You were trying to rob me. Ethan threw his drink. The glass shattered on the patio stones near my feet. People gasped. You want to do this here? I asked quietly. In front of all these people? Why not? You already destroyed us. What's a little more? Laura grabbed his arm. Ethan, stop. No. He needs to hear this. He needs to know what he did. I know what I did. I protected myself from you. You could have just helped us. You could have given us the money. It was my money, my house, my life. You're selfish. I'm awake. Ethan lunged at me. Laura tried to hold him back. Mia screamed. He was drunk and sloppy. I stepped aside, let him stumble past. He caught himself on a chair, spun back. You're a bitter old man, he said. Mom was right. You were always small, always scared, too afraid to take risks or live a real life. I lived my life. I didn't have to steal someone else's. He came at me again. This time I didn't move, let him get close. Then I shoved him, hard, in the chest. He went down, backward, into the lawn. The impact knocked the wind out of him. People moved back. Someone pulled out their phone, recording. I stood over him, my bad knee screaming, my hands shaking. You tried to take my house, I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. You tried to have me locked up in a nursing home. You lied to doctors. You drugged me. You destroyed my reputation. All so you could sell my property and pay off your gambling debts. Ethan stared up at me, breathing hard. And when I found out, when I fought back, you broke into my house. Twice. You threatened me. You tried to scare me into giving up. That's not... I have recordings. I have emails. I have proof of everything. Laura tried to pull me away. Dan, stop. I shook her off. You were part of it. You planned it. You coached them. You told them how to manipulate doctors and lawyers. That's not true. I have your emails. Her face went white. I looked around at the crowd, phones out, recording everything. These people, I said, pointing at Ethan and Laura and Mia, tried to steal everything from me, and when they failed, they tried to make me look like the villain. But I'm not. I'm just a man who refused to lie down and die. Ethan got to his feet. His face was red, grass stains on his shirt. You're going to regret this, he said. I already regret marrying into this family. Laura slapped me. Again. Same cheek as before. This time I didn't flinch. You're pathetic, she said. Her voice shook. All of you, standing here fighting over nothing. It's not nothing, I said. It's my life. It's a house. It's money. It's things. It's mine. She looked at me with something like hatred. I wasted 30 years on you. Feelings mutual. Chelsea, the party host, appeared. I think you should all leave. Good idea, I said. I turned and walked away. Through the house. Through the crowd of people who'd just watched my family destroy itself. Again. Hal was waiting in the car. How'd it go? About how you'd expect. Did you hit anybody? Just shoved Ethan. Good restraint. We drove in silence for a while. You feel better? Hal asked. No. Good. Means you're not a sociopath. The video went viral. Someone at the party had posted it online. Me shoving Ethan, Laura slapping me, all of it. By the next morning, it had thousands of views. Comments ranged from elder abuse is real to that old man is unhinged to both sides are toxic. Emily called. Dad, what the hell? They started it. You showed up at their party. To drop off ornaments. You showed up to humiliate them. That was just a bonus. She sighed. You're not making this easier. I'm not trying to make it easier. What are you trying to do? Win. At what cost? Whatever it takes. She hung up. Janet, my lawyer, called next. We need to talk. About what? About that video. About you confronting your family in public. About the fact that you're making yourself look unstable. I'm not unstable. You shoved your son at a party in front of dozens of witnesses. He came at me first. That's not how it looks in the video. I watched it again. She was right. The angle made it look like I'd attacked him, like I was the aggressor. They'll use this, Janet said. They'll say you're dangerous, that you're the one who needs a guardian. But I have the recordings, the emails, and now they have a video of you assaulting someone. I sat down. My knee throbbed. My head hurt. What do I do? I asked. You stop. Right now. You stop engaging with them. You stop going to parties. You stop confronting them. You let the legal system handle it. The legal system already handled it. I won. Then act like it, because right now you look like someone who's out for revenge. I am out for revenge. Then you're going to lose everything you just won. I hung up. And that night, I sat in my house alone, the box of ornaments still in my truck, Emily's ornaments that she didn't even want, that nobody wanted. I took out my phone, looked at the video again, watched myself shove Ethan, watched Laura slap me, watched Mia scream. We looked pathetic, all of us. Emily was right. Janet was right. When does it end? I didn't know. I just knew I wasn't ready to stop. Not yet.